Here is a video that will cover the mean, median, mode, and range, which could come up certainly in the Math and Science GED, but even the Social Studies GED. All right, just a simple set here to define these and give an example of them. So let's say we have the data set of 4, 7, 3, 6, 4, and 8. What is the mean? Well, the mean is typically known as the average. When most people think of the average, that's the mean. So it says find the total and then divide by the number of numbers. So for this box here, we're going to take the total and we're going to divide by the number of numbers. And here's the total. 4 plus 7 plus 3 plus 6 equals 32. And then what you would do is do 32 divided by 5 because there's 5 numbers. Now let me show you the calculator. I always like to show the GED calculator when I do these videos. So let's clear these and we'll do 32 divided by 5. And so the average or the mean is 6.4. Okay, let's do the median. The median is the middle value for all reordered numbers from least to greatest. It can also be actually from greatest to least. It doesn't really matter. So if we take these numbers and we reorder them from least to greatest, it will have 3, 4, 4, 6, 7, and 8. And so the middle two numbers here, if we take these two out and these two out, we end up with an imperfect middle. Here we don't have one number that is right in the middle. And so how does this work to find the median? Well, you essentially are going to take the mean or the average of these two numbers. So we'll do 4 plus 6, we'll total them up and divide by the number of numbers. That ends up being 10 divided by 2, which is 5. If there were an odd set of numbers, you would have a perfect middle. But on the GED, chances are test makers are going to want to know that you know how to do this, so probably expect to have to find the average of the two middle numbers. Okay, the next one is the mode, which is also the most common or the most frequent number in the data set. So in this case, there are two 4s in the data set. You have 4 that comes up twice, if you can see that. So that's the mode. The range is the high minus the low. The high number is 8. The low number is 3. So the range is 5. So hopefully that defines all 4 for you. Let's do kind of a GED level problem now. All right, so here's our data set. It says days with cloud cover per month. You have January through May and then all of the days that it was cloudy. And the question is, what is the difference between the mean and the median for the data set? Pretty typical GED style question where they're not just going to ask you to find the mean or the median. It's probably too easy. They're going to have you do something with it, compare it to something else. So let's look over here. How are we going to go about answering this problem? So the first thing, the difference means we're going to have to subtract the mean from the median or the median from the mean. I have absolute value bars here because it doesn't matter which direction you put them in. If you get a negative, you're still just concerned with the value. I'll come back to this if that's confusing. So to find the mean, we ultimately are going to total up all of those, 19, 17, 15, 20, and 13, and we will divide by 5. So when we do that, when we add all those up, all these numbers here, 19 plus 17 plus 15 plus 20 plus 13, we get 84. We divide by 5, we end up with a mean of 16.8. Okay? So if we come over here now, the median, again, it's the middle value of all of the ordered values. So if we order them from least to greatest, we have 13, 15, 17, 19, and 20. So in this case, there is a perfect middle of 17. So let me just show you how. So, if we focus right here, we have 2 to the left of 17 and 2 to the right of 17. So it is the perfect middle. Okay. Now we're ready to compare the difference between the mean and the median. So again, we're going to subtract them, and we just need the absolute value. So I purposely put these so that we get a negative number to kind of prove the point. If you end up doing 16.8 minus 17, you would get the absolute value of negative 0.2. But these absolute value brackets mean, we don't necessarily care that it's a negative. We just want the difference. And the difference isn't negative or positive. It's just the value, which is 0.2, which happens to be one of our answer choices. So the answer is B. All right, question 3. It says, which of the following is a correct description of the dot plot to the left? And then if you look at all the answer choices, it's mentioning range first. It's asking you essentially what is the range of the data and what is the mode of the data. So let's define this real quick. I have that under this box here. The range, again, is the high minus low, and the mode is the most common. So I chose this dot plot because these are tricky for students. I've worked with enough students to know that this requires some practice in order to quickly onboard yourself to it and get the question correct. So let's tackle the range. So what is the high value of the number of games here? So if you look, these are all the number of games, and each dot represents a person. So these aren't bar graphs. I mean, in a way, you can almost think of it like a bar graph, but each dot represents one person. And so we have one person who has 10 games. And then the low value isn't these two here. This represents we have 2 people with 5 games. But what we want is who has the lowest number of games. And we have 5 people who have 1 game. So the lowest number of games that anyone has in this data set is 1, and there's 5 of them that have 1. So for the range, what we want then is essentially, here's our high, let's put an H there, and here's our low. So it's going to be 10 minus 1, which is 9. Okay, now the mode is the most common. So in other words, we want the most common number of games. Which number of games, 1 through 10, do most people have? And some students might select 10, saying, well, we have 10. We have someone who has 10 games. But notice what I just said. I said a person has 10 games. What we want is the number of games, the highest number of games that are repeated. So that's 4. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And so the mode is 4, not 8. Okay? We have 8 people who have 4 games. That's what makes it the mode. So if we want a range of 9, so it's either B or D, but then the mode tells us it is in fact D. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like this video if you found it valuable, and subscribe if you would like to see more videos like these. Visit the link below to passtheged.org to see more videos and learning opportunities that will help you get the highest passing score on the GED. And good luck.